Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. My name is Amy Brownell, and every Tuesday I go live here on YouTube at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, to talk about all things CFO and advisory related. So if you've got questions, if you've got comments, if you just want to chat, go ahead and drop it in the chat. You can drop it in the chat. You can actually also post a comment in the comment section of YouTube down below this video. All right, so today we're going to talk about what a week in the life of a CFO advisor looks like. What exactly are we doing on the daily, on the week, and how does that look? What can you expect? So that's what we're going to talk about. Now, before we get into that, I would really love it if you would go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me here on YouTube. You can follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn. You'll see those links down below. And I want to make sure that you have access to all of my new videos and every time I drop new content. So be sure to subscribe. All right. So what exactly does a week in the life of a CFO advisor look like? Well, a lot of people think it's all about spending time in spreadsheets and moving numbers from here to there. And that's not it at all. I'm going to tell you exactly what a real day in the life looks like, a real week in the life. So the first thing that we focus on in any given week, we do these kinds of tasks. Excuse me. We do client strategy calls. So every week we talk to certain clients. Now, typically we talk to them once a month, but depending on the week, we schedule calls based on when our client is available, preset time. And during those calls, we talk about exactly what happened during the prior month and how that compared to what we had planned. We try to understand what's happening in the business. We work with that client to set goals and solve problems. So that is the first thing that we do, really having a real in-depth conversation where we're not just regurgitating data. We're actually working with them to, on the fly, solve problems, to set goals, and figure out how to answer those questions that plague a lot of businesses. So, for example, things like, should I hire an employee or should I go with a contractor? Or should I buy this piece of equipment or should I lease? So things like that. What happens if I want to increase revenue 5%? What does that mean for my cost of goods sold and my fixed expenses? All of those kinds of questions are the things that we're going to be talking about during those client strategy calls. What else are we going to do? Well, we are going to work on some insights, analysis, try to understand everything we can about the business. So we are going to be reviewing the financial statements. We are going to be reviewing dashboards, looking at trends, trying to identify red flags, things that are maybe not working as well in the business as we'd like. So, for example, are we seeing a trend in our revenue going down? What's causing that, and what can we do to turn it around? Things like, has the business gone on a hiring spree and we don't understand why, and there's not the revenue to support it? So lots of things that we're trying to understand. Are we hitting our key performance indicators? Are we falling behind where we should be on the year? So things like that. We also work on things like forecasting and scenario analysis. So things like, what if I decide to develop a new product or a new service? What if I decide to take away a a less productive product or service. And by less productive, I mean less profitable. So really trying to understand, okay, what are the things that are plaguing the business? The things that we're talking about in the strategy call, we need to wrap our arms around as far as getting those insights ready to have a conversation about them during the call. So again, things like hiring, things like potential rent increase, things like whether you want to do full-time or part-time, whether it's how effective, how much more productive is the team going to be if we buy this piece of equipment? Is that going to offset? Is the additional revenue going to offset the cost of that piece of equipment? So things like that. The other thing that we're going to want to do is work with our team and work with the client. So we're going to be wanting to follow up with the bookkeeper, assuming we're not doing the bookkeeping work, that we're doing the CFO work. We're going to want to follow up with the bookkeeper if we see anything amiss in the financial statements. So things like items that aren't categorized appropriately, or accounts that aren't reconciled, things that don't really pass the sniff test, So things like, hey, every month our wages is about $20,000, but this month it's 10. So really understanding, okay, was an entry missed? Did something off happen? What's going on? We would want to have that conversation with the bookkeeper before having the conversation with the CFO, because that bookkeeper is going to have the knowledge of were the appropriate amount of pay periods actually paid. So we're definitely going to want to have conversations with the bookkeeper, sometimes with the CPA if they have tax questions. We're going to want to follow up and make sure with our clients that they're feeling supported and taken care of, that if they have questions throughout the month that they can contact us and we're reaching out, offering our support. You're also going to want to do some business development. So whether that be taking a look at your marketing, taking a look at what messages you're putting out there into the marketing universe, I guess I'll say. You're going to want to really kind of take a look at what kind of clients you like working with. If there is a specific niche that you want to narrow down your focus down to, you're going to want to look at things like pricing. You're going to want to make sure your business is optimized. That's probably the better way to say it. Make sure every aspect of your business is being optimized, that you're using the right tools and systems, that you're efficient, that you're getting the right kinds of clients that are wanting to talk to you and that eventually sign on to be clients, that you're not having to deal with the constant difficult clients, that you're getting enough new clients that you can kick those more difficult clients to the curb. So things like that. And then finally, you're going to want to think about not only yours, but your client's long-term strategy. So like a lot of what we do is focused on the future as CFOs. Remember, bookkeepers focus on the past, whereas CFOs focus on the future. And sometimes that means that we have to think 3, 5, 10 years into the future. What are those things that we need to be doing now to achieve those longer term goals? Do we need to change our pricing? Do we need to look at our different packages? Do we need to tell our clients that, hey, if we are looking to grow revenue, we can do X, Y, and Z. The first one of those is increased price. So, for example, a lot of analysis on the kinds of things that you can do to reach those longer term goals. Now, You don't have to pull all of those levers now. You don't have to put into action all of those. But what you do need to do is outline what they are and what they look like so you can be ready to act when the time comes. CFO work is all about strategy. It's all about looking towards the future and what can we do now to help achieve those 3, 5, 10-year goals. Well, so now that we talked about what CFOs do weekly, what don't we do? That's probably that is the flip side to this coin. That is, we don't do bookkeeping, we don't do data entry, we don't do reconciliations, we don't do categorizations. All of that falls under the bookkeeping wheelhouse. So we are not doing any of those tasks, AP, AR, payroll. If you want to do that stuff, that's totally fine. But keep in mind that is on the bookkeeping side of life as opposed to on the advisor side of life. The other thing we don't do is taxes. So usually the business has a CPA who does taxes. If you want to do taxes, again, like bookkeeping, you can. But keep in mind that it is a different service offering. So it should not be priced altogether. We don't do, how do I want to say, busy work. So all of the work that we do should produce an insight, an outcome, something that is of value. And any work that we are doing that doesn't accomplish that goal, we shouldn't be doing it. And that is the same for your business as well. As you're thinking about your business, focus on the things that matter, the things that move the needle. You'd be shocked at how often I hear, Amy, I spent a bunch of time doing X, Y, and Z. And I was like, okay, why? And they're like, well, it was bothering me. It needed to be done. But it doesn't move revenue and it doesn't improve the client experience. It doesn't make your life easier. So what did you spend your time doing? Like making sure that we're using our time in the most effective way possible. We're not going to do hourly billing. We price all of our CFO services based on value pricing. So we take a percentage of that value that we're going to create for our clients. So no more hourly billing, no more up and down work. We are doing, we are doing value pricing every month, fixed amount, and that amount is based on the value that we create for the client. The other thing that we don't want to do, and this is something that we get sucked into a lot as bookkeepers, and that is scope creep. We don't want to say yes to everything. We want to make sure that not only our actions for our client, but our actions for our own business are tied to value creation. So it's revenue generating, it makes us more efficient. Those are really the two main things, making sure that we're efficient, making sure that we are either saving time or making more money, that everything we do is focused on one of those criteria. And the other thing that we don't do is explain every single line of every single financial statement. That is boring. We are going to focus on storytelling. Now you might be like, Amy, storytelling, come on. And I get it. It is a difficult idea to wrap your head around, but just like most people, business owners, they relate to circumstances better, to decisions better when it comes in a story format. So telling the story in a way that makes sense, understanding, okay, well, our revenue was down. Okay, great. Well, why was that? Was that because we lowered prices? Was that because we were running a sale? Was that because we sold less units. And why was that? So really trying to tell the story of what happened rather than just saying revenue was down $100,000 or 3.3% due to blah, blah, blah. Like, that's boring. No one wants to hear that. They want to hear the why, and not only the why, but what that means. So now that we've kind of talked about what we do and what we don't do, what is the most valuable part of what we do? And that is finding the why behind the number. So anyone can look on a financial statement and say revenue is up, revenue is down, salaries are down. Anyone can look and say that. But where our value comes from is really understanding, okay, why? Why is our salary down? Why is revenue up? What is the story behind the number? What drove that? That is the first thing that is one of the most valuable things that we provide as a CFO. The second is figuring out the fix. So now that you know the why, what is the action plan to fix it or to lean harder on the things that are working well so we can get even better performance. So understanding we have the why, what is the fix? What are we going to do about it? And then finally, the third most valuable thing that we offer as CFO advisors is forecasting the future. It's all about the future with CFO. So what does the future look like? What is our best guess based on the data that we have to forecast what's going to happen next month, next year, 2 years out, etc. So those are the things that we find where we demonstrate our value, the most valuable things. So, all right, that is it. That is a week in the life of a CFO. You can see that it is built around strategy, that it is not really a bunch of spreadsheet work, that it's really about the stuff that makes a difference in a small business owner's life. And if you are interested in learning more about CFO advisory services, I am running a challenge. It's coming up on November 12th, 13th, and 14th. This is a 3-day challenge, an hour each day. And I would encourage you to join. We are going to talk about everything that a CFO advisor does. We're going to talk about why they get paid so much. We're going to talk about a cool tool that you can use to be super efficient. And I'm going to show you some of the best ways to get clients, things that people I've worked with in the past have done and have landed over $1 million of monthly retainer clients. So you're definitely going to want to tune in for that. You can go register for that challenge on that link below. It's gamechangerchallenge.com. Again, it's gamechangerchallenge.com/register. All right. Well, I will see you back here next Tuesday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific, and we'll talk about another topic related to CFO and advisory. All right. Have a good one.